We are live.
Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting, Tippecanoe County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, April 6th to order. And first order of business is the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to say good morning and thank you to those who are joining us via either our YouTube or Facebook Live channels or any other means. I don't expect that this will be perfect the first time through, but rest assured we'll continue to work through the process and polish it as much as we can. Our next order of business is approval of minutes from the March 16th and March 26th special meeting.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve those minutes as submitted.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion passes. Paula, presentations of accounts payable and vouchers.
Mr. President, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to present accounts payable for 4/2/2020 be approved without exception.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the accounts payable without exception. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President, I'd also like to recommend the payroll for 4/3/2020 be approved without exception.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? And that motion passes. Council, we have two resolutions.
Yeah, so I'll take them both together. If you have questions about either of them, please ask. But 14 is the Economic Development Capital Improvement Plan, and 15 is the Cumulative Capital Improvement Plan, both for 2020. This is money that was put in the budget, but you need to take the extra step of updating the capital improvement plan. This is something we do every year. New in the economic development was election equipment. You're putting $100,000 into that. And I think that's a drop in the bucket and looking to be a multi-year project. I think and I don't know how accurate these estimates are, but in the plan it shows a $1.5 million estimate for the election system upgrade, so this is kind of a down payment. The other thing in there is a law enforcement firearm range, also a multi-year undertaking, I believe, but $25,000 is going to that, and then various amounts into existing projects. And then the other is Cumulative Capital Fund. The only new project is just the capital outlay expenditures for 2020, but there are additional funds for do-it hardware, software and administration, copier leases, building repair and maintenance, to fund repairs at the county office building, courthouse, and 6th Street. And those are detailed in the spreadsheet that's attached to the plan.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve Resolution 2020-14-CM Economic Development Capital Improvement Plan for 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve as submitted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve 2020-15-CM, the Cumulative Capital Improvement Plan for 2020.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion also passes. Good morning, Sally.
Good morning. There are three things on my agenda this morning. There are two contracts for traffic counting in Carroll County. This work is done under a special grant from INDOT that we apply for and receive every year. And then the last item is my conflict of interest disclosure, because one of the contracts is for my husband, Brian Fahey. There are 2 contracts this year because this will be Brian's last year. Part of the contract for both Brian and Robert Dunlap include training, where the payment for those counts will be split between the 2. And then both contracts are worded in such a way that should Brian not be able to complete the counts, that Robert can pick up anything remaining. I also added a section about COVID-19 and the possibility of that delaying the counts and them not being completed by June 30, and that under a new contract, they could be carried over into fiscal year 2021 for completion. Doug Masson has reviewed the contracts, and as far as I know, he has no other changes requested. So those are the 3 items. The conflict of interest statement, you do not need to sign, but Bob has to send that to the State Board of Accounts.
Okay. Any questions for Sally?
So who does sign as the elected official then?
No, I do not meet any of those
Criteria.
criteria,
Okay.
so that's why you don't have to sign.
Okay.
I just have to provide that.
Okay, all right. Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve the contracts for traffic accounting for Brian Fahey and, is it Richard?
Robert
Dunlap.
Second.
You have a motion and a second to approve the contracts. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
And then,
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve the conflict of interest disclosure as well, or acknowledge the receipt of the conflict of interest disclosure.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion also passes. Good morning, Stu.
Good morning.
Are you the coroner?
Glad all is well. What?
Are you the coroner?
We'll have you hold off just a second.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry.
All right, we received an agreement with the Indiana State Department of Health for data sharing that was provided to the coroner's office. I think that's been reviewed.
Yeah, we've done this a few times. It's, the upshot is that information given by the coroner will be shared by the State Department of Health in aggregate form only.
With that, I'll make a motion, we approve that data sharing agreement.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
If anybody comes in on the after the revised agenda before me. Good morning. Glad everybody's well. I have 2 items. The first is a warranty deed for Penn Road 500 North project, parcel 3, Jane Kraus, in the amount of $24,656.
Mr. President, I move that we approve this warranty deed as stated.
I'll second that.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the warranty deed? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Then we have street acceptances for Stonehenge Phase 4. We have Dollarite Court, Lithophone Court, Magus Court, Rhyolite Court, and Rhyolite Drive, a total of just under half a mile. We also have maintenance bonds in the amount of $38,422 for Milestone Contractors and $81,812.57 from Atlas Excavating.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we accept the streets as outlined, as well as the 2 3-year maintenance bonds.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the streets as outlined and both maintenance bonds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stu. And a matter of a drainage easement, Doug?
Yeah, this was discussed at the Drainage Board a little bit. One condition of approval for Tippecanoe Partners drainage plan for Timberbrook Meadows was to get a drainage easement over about 0.2 acres owned by the county at the Villa County Farm. So this is an easement that gets that done.
But it's actually west of
Oh,
county, or of the
yeah, of the
50.
Villa, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not that property, but it's just across the street from that
Correct.
property. Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve that drainage easement for Tippecanoe Partners as outlined.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the drainage easement as outlined. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Have the MOU with community loan.
Do we have the documentation for that easement? Oh, was this here?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is an MOU with Community Loan Center of West Central Indiana. This is an opportunity for our employees to actually do a lower interest loan than typically is charged at payday loan centers. This can be up to 200 to 300% interest when you compound them annually. This is a much reduced interest rate of, was it 18, I think, percent? And this has to be done through payroll deduction. So it's been vetted through Bob and his office in regard to that as well. And this is something that obviously both cities and some of our local employers utilize so that as a cheaper expense to borrowing some funds for our employees. So with that, I will make a motion, we approve this MOU as outlined.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the MOU with Community Loan Center of West Central Indiana. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes. Sharon Newton?
I think she's going to try to connect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning. It's a busy world in the grants today. Community Corrections would like to ask permission to apply for Innovative and Supervision Initiative grant from the Office of Justice Program to increase the success rate and reduce the rate of recidivism for those that are under supervision in Tippecanoe County.
Mr. President, I move we grant permission to apply as stated.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to apply for the grant as submitted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes.
The second grant we'd like to apply for is with the Sheriff's Department for $58,008 for the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program solicitation, which will be used for supplies, equipment needed to address the needs of the inmates and staff to prevent, prepare, and respond to the coronavirus. This funding is through the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we grant permission to apply as stated.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to apply as outlined. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion passes.
Thank you. And then we'd like to ask permission to accept the Youth Services Grant for $7,653 for the 2020 and 2022 Safe Place VOCA funding. It's a 2-year contract, so this is an acceptance/contract agreement from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 22. And additionally, they're eligible to ask for up to $2,000 each year for the Safe Place VOCA funds. It's the same contract that they've had in previously, and Tracy will need to sign that one, please.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we grant permission to accept.
Second.
We have motion and a second to accept the grant as outlined. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Do we have any unfinished or new business?
Extension.
Do we want to talk about the
Yes.
extension?
Yeah. So we are currently under, we are under the initial executive order that had basically a stay-home order from the governor's office that was due to expire at midnight tonight. Last week, in a press conference, the governor announced that executive order would be extended for a period of 2 weeks, which would be midnight on the 20th. And I think it's very clear right now that our intent, obviously, would be to go along with that in terms of our operations. Would either of you like to add anything?
I mean, just what we talked about at the meeting on the 26th, you know, we do have a significant number of folks who are working remotely, and, you know, it's been, knock on wood, been working relatively smoothly, considering it was put together in a short time frame. But appreciate everybody's patience, and we certainly appreciate the outstanding work of a few of our departments, including IT and of course our health department and several other departments as well. But I think it is important that we continue down this road at least for another 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll kick this thing.
Do we need a motion on this? Doug, do you feel? Or
I
just
don't
matter?
think so.
Okay. Well, I totally agree with what Tom's just saying. A big thank you to Kent and Max and their crew to really get this put together, it seems like. And for Paula hanging in there as a trooper, so. And then the only other thing I had under unfinished business is that those of you who have not done your census, please do your census. It is important.
Okay. Reports on file. We have reports from the Tippecanoe County Building Commission and Weights and Measures. Those documents have been submitted, and now we're to the point in our meeting where we would like to take public comment to the best of our abilities. The only thing that we had that was sent in advance of our meeting was an email from Jonathan in West Lafayette that says, has the county established an ad hoc committee to deal with relevant issues, and how can the public help in this health crisis? Well, I would like to say that to begin in response to your question, Jonathan, there are a number of broad-based groups that have been meeting within government that tie not only government operations together, but government, public safety, the local healthcare community, and so forth. The best way that you can help, again, if you're a citizen out there and you're looking for a way to get plugged in, of course, we want you to be mindful of the stay-at-home order and keep yourself and your family protected, obviously. And then if there are ways that you can help that continue to keep you safe, we would encourage you, if there is a way that you can safely volunteer or at least reach out to folks that you know that are in need and be able to help them. That is, going to be on a case-by-case basis, but that's my initial thought. Either of the commissioners have any other thoughts on that matter? As far as ad hoc community involvement with what we do day to day, it is truly pretty well covered by professionals in all aspects of government.
Anything else, Bo?
Any other public comment?
Yes, from YouTube, Zachary Beal writes, thank you for your guidance on this, and then he further asks, what information is the county collecting regarding the status of businesses in Tippecanoe County? What ones are still currently open? How many are classified as essential, etc.? If the information is not being collected, when will it be? And if it is, where can the public find this information?
I would jump in on that and say that GLC has done a phenomenal job with that. So that could be located at the GLC website. That's Greater Lafayette Commerce. So they have a list of not only the businesses, but restaurants and the type of services that they're still providing.
I would like to mention that there is a 30-second delay between when they hear us and when they can respond.
Anything else?
At this moment, there are no further comments from YouTube.
Move to adjourn.
We stand adjourned.